this is Dorothy with Scrapbooking, and I am showing you the Project 3 of Currently Loving scrapbook kit. I hope you enjoy this, and this is my favorite layout of the three, but all of them work beautifully with each other. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you very soon, and you can see how I put all these pages together. Thanks so much for returning and watching my videos. Hi, this is Dorothy with Scrapbooking, and I am showing you today Currently Loving, which is a scrapbook kit from Stampin' Up! And I am trying to get back into doing some videos. It's been a while. My husband and I have been working on a little side business, so that has taken up a whole lot of our time. So I'm showing you the papers here. So those are background papers, and those are background papers. And then we've got this two great sheets here that you can use for making cards. Some of the pieces are going to be used to decorate the pages, so very useful. You could also use them for pocket scrapbooking by just cutting out the 4x6 pieces and putting them with pictures. So very versatile sheets there. And we've got a lot of the cardstock. The two black cardstocks are also base pages that I'm going to be setting aside, and we have two pages here of die cuts. So I'm just going to go ahead and get those out of the way, pop them out, and I will put them in piles. On the back of each of those pieces it says whether it goes with Project 1, Project 2, or Project 3. So you can separate all the pieces according to the projects, and then put the background pages to go with them, so you have a little organized pile, so you're not hunting all over the place, making yourself crazy. So we have a whole bunch of flowers and leaves, and these look like dogwood flowers to me. Growing up in the Northeast, there was a lot of wild dogwoods growing out in the forests. So this is also going to be a background. We've got a bunch of pieces that are coming out that are going to be used, little journaling places, and these little blank circles actually get used. So they're part of maybe the second layout. It says it on the back of those little things. So we're going to go ahead and put all these pieces away, and like I said, I'm going to organize them into piles. So here's the cutting guide. You know, they show you each of the projects, what they look like on the front, and then going inside you've got how to make the cuts. Now fortunately there aren't a whole lot of cuts to make, so these are pretty simple, pretty easy and quick to get done, which is kind of nice. For everybody is kind of too tired, too busy. You're tired because you're busy, but mostly because you're busy with working and family and errands and everything else that you've got to do. So this is one of the pieces that's going to get used, and I am going to go, they have the dimensions of how big they want it, and so I am just going by where to put the cut lines, so that it's like 1/4 of an inch from the top and bottom and about 1/2 an inch from the sides. So this just makes cutting easier for me. And we've got, this is the back side, and we have kind of it looks like bed ticking to me from years and years and years ago. But anyway, nice little pale stripes of paper, and those are going to be they're 1 inch wide by various lengths, 8 and 6 and 5 and 3/4. So, it shows you exactly how to lay your paper, so you get the cross cut or long cut and the size to make everything. So now these are going to be cuts that are 4 inches by 12. So that as simple as you can get there. And I'm cutting off a 1/2 inch on that one. I'm cutting into pieces. So now I will tell you, I got confused on this piece. I've got to pull out my little arm. By the way, the Stampin' Up! Cutter, I've had a number of Fisker cutters. I've had probably at least 3 Fisker cutters that I've used for years and years. And I always liked the Fisker cutters. But when I joined Stampin' Up!, I decided to get their tools. And this is a great cutter. I mean, I think it's surpassed, and it shocks me, but it surpassed the Fisker cutters. So I really like the Stampin' Up! Cardstock cutter and paper cutter. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these pieces, and they're mostly going to be backgrounds for pictures from the size of them. That's what I ascertained. They're going to be like 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so they're going to be a little bit of a... Okay, so I'm cutting the rest of the cardstock and papers up here, just following the very simple instructions. Not a big deal. This is something anybody can do. This is my favorite cut, 10 by 10. Really like that. And then there's a quarter piece. So it goes pretty darn quick, I have to say. I think maybe at the most 20 minutes to cut all the pieces and to sort into basic little piles of 3 for each of the projects. So you want to keep yourself as organized as you can, and with everything you could put that this is 2A or 3B, and you could sort things according to the projects with your cardstock if you want. But I just try to make piles and put all the pieces that belong in each pile together. So I don't like to fuss a whole lot, I have to say. I just don't like fussing a whole lot. Now these white especially are going to be kind of picture holders and picture backgrounds, because they're mostly for 3 by 4 pictures and 3 by 3 pictures. So we have one 5 by 7 on one of the layouts and one 4 by 6. Now if you wanted to use additional pictures or bigger pictures, you can always adjust these layouts according to what works for your pictures. So you don't have to follow the instructions exactly. I'm sorry, my video cut me off without any kind of warning. So I'm just going ahead and finishing up all the pieces here. At least I thought I was, but I think I left one color out. But I'll come back and do that. So here we go. Now we're going to the layouts. Love this color. It's called Cloud Cover. Love, love, love it. And so, what I really like about the colors in these 3 layouts is, although they have color in them, so they're not your, grays and blacks and whites, although there is a lot of black and white in this. These colors are such that they're almost like a neutral, like this cloud cover could almost be considered a neutral, because most anything would go with it, as far as colors. And the same thing with kind of the peachy color, and of course the tans and the greens. I mean, they really go with so much. think I messed up, or I didn't mess up, but I forgot to do one of the cuts. The white, for one thing. Okay, so this black strip is actually not supposed to go with this layout. And looking at the sticker sheet, it was the sticker sheet border that was supposed to go here. So I ended up, my usual messing up things and taking it off and replacing it. Although, they were both the same size. They're both a black and kind of grayish background. And really, they could have been interchangeable. So I was really being a little silly with the whole thing. But sometimes you just think you've got to have it the way it is in the instructions. I don't know why I think that, because every time I cook, I change things. I change every recipe I touch. So I don't know why I can't do the same thing with scrapbooking. I guess because I've been cooking since I was 11. But anyway, this gives you the distances from side to side and top to bottom of where to put your pieces. So very simple. You could eyeball it and not worry about doing so much measuring, but you can just kind of get close. Most important thing is getting things straight. So there's going to be some things, clearly there's going to be a picture that goes under there. So I don't really want to glue it all the way down. So I'm just going to glue like one end of it, and then after I put the pictures in, then I will glue the pieces down. So one of the die cuts was a title, and see how you can see there's projects 1, 2, and 3. Okay, as I continue, I'm just kind of going through and pulling out my project 1 pieces, and end up doing a little bit of sorting while I'm doing this. I do more of the sorting off camera later on, instead of boring you with sorting things out. So here are the leaves that are going to go on here. And what I have done, and you don't have to do this, but what I have done is add wherever I wanted some dimension, like on the leaves and on the flowers, I would use some of my dimensionals. And that way you give a little third dimension to your pages, which I like many layers, and I certainly like dimensions. So I'm trying to keep the stickers away from where you would slip a picture in, and that's sort of what I'm doing. And I have, when you do paper pumpkin and various things, you get so many dimensionals from Stampin' Up! That I just have a whole pile of them that I like to use whenever I get a chance. Now, the numbers, I haven't really decided what to do the numbers yet, so I am not going to add numbers to mine. But if they have a 3 on this one, so there are 3 things that they add to this day that were going on. So, if you have 1 thing I want to remember, 2 things, whatever it happens to be, you use the numbers or not the way you want to. It's really up to you. Now, when you can't find a piece, I found you need to go back to that sheet, and there are all sorts of pieces that they're using that you don't necessarily see right away. So if you can't find something, it wasn't on the sticker sheet or a die cut, go to that page that has, see, that's me taking the thing off and finding that there was a border piece that was supposed to go there. Really, so this is stripes. So when I first looked at it, it's like, well, those little diamonds aren't stripes. And it just didn't occur to me to go look at the sticker sheet, which was really silly. But there you go. What can you say? Like I said, the diamond pattern would have been fine with this. But it's okay. Now look at how much those little bitty flowers in a piece that's maybe 1.5 by 1.5. Look at how much that adds to that whole page. I mean, it really, and the flowers, you could take those and bend them forward to add more dimension to them and add a little, make them look a little bit more lively or live. Okay, so even though this is a sticker, I am popping it up with the dimensionals. And I like to do that so that the sticker isn't against the picture, in which case I'd have to pull it up. And the dimensional, you can, after you put the picture in place, then you pull the backing off the dimensional and stick it onto the picture. So that's my way of getting around this. Now, so there's one of the little die cuts that came out of the circle page. And it's, a little, I love how they have the little small journaling places. So you're not so overwhelmed by, you don't have to write a book. I mean, you can if you want to. But if you just want to put dates and times and what was going on, who was there, then you've got the basics of the very basics of what you need for your pages. And you always want to put some journaling. Believe me, you want to put names onto your pages, just because I'm telling you, at some point you're not around and people are wondering, well, who the heck that is? I have no idea who it is. I'm going to throw this out. I mean, I have my mother-in-law had really cool old-timey black album with all the black and white pictures and black pages. There was no clue. We had no idea who any of the people were. No idea whether it was family. My husband didn't know. And it was like, what a shame. I mean, because they're really cool pages and really cool pictures. But, it might as well go into a restaurant, because I don't know any of these people. Don't know the story. So write your story. Make sure and write your story. And give people after you a chance to see what your life was. It's important. After going through scrapbooks that my mother and her sister did, it's really important for the names to be there. So when you're sitting with your 95-year-old aunt trying to figure out what to talk about, you can pull out the scrapbooks and have something to talk about, to hear about their lives that you maybe weren't a part of. Because I grew up, most of my adult life, from college on till I'm 75, was away from family. And so, okay, enough about my life. So anyway, journaling is important. Bottom line is, tell your story, give the dates, give what you were doing, and give the people's names, most importantly. I have to say, I do like these flowers. The flowers and the leaves are pretty effective in adding to the page. So once again, any chance I get to add dimension, either to cards or to scrapbooking, try to add dimension as much as you can, any place you can. So once again, it seems silly because you have this beautiful sticker, and it's made out of a good stiff cardboard cardstock. And what do? I'm not taking advantage of the sticker, but I don't like to necessarily stick things directly onto my pictures. And what you can do, which I didn't do here, is there's a little powder that you can use when you're doing embossing, and you can put it on the back of your sticker to take the stickiness away. Trying to maneuver my camera here to get both pages in so you can see what the pages look like together. Not doing a good job. I just got a new arm on my camera too. Okay, on to the next. And I showed you what the final product looked like on layout 1, project 1 rather. And so here's project 2, and there's that diamond strip that I initially put down on the first, and it needed to go here. Like I said, see how the other black and gray half-inch border could have done just fine here. So be freer than I am. You know, if you don't like how something looks, then use one of the others. Or if you make a mistake like I did, then go with it. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I like these pictures. They have a little bit of a tilt on them. So I'm being kind of persnickety here and trying to get the right angle on it. These are really things that you could eyeball and not necessarily do this kind of measuring. So, and like I said, so these are for 3x4 pictures, which are probably pictures that you've cropped down from 4x6s. You could put 4x6s here. So, give yourself plenty of leeway to do what you want to do. Now, this is a nice little group here that is going to go right up here in the corner. And it's got a lot of pop to it for sure. And I like the family. Actually I thought I've got a whole bunch of families cut out in glitter cardstock. I forgot that I was going to pull one of those out and use it there. I don't know that glitter would have been as good as the black and white one that was there, but anyway, we have our family. Definitely a good title that you can use for probably any of your pictures or layouts, scrapbooking layouts. Now see, that one that we cut out, that's going to go on the second page of this particular layout. And this was one of the white cardstocks, a little like 1.5 by 1.5, and that's going to be the little journaling area. So here we're going to do the other side, and you see how the greens are going to come up next to each other. And I am butting the black strip, the half-inch border, right up next to the edge of the green. And this is really such a pretty image to put on your layout here. These are really the black and white and green, really a nice combination. And once again, we're doing a little bit crooked image, and like I said, you don't have to do this measuring here. This is pretty much eyeballing. And you're making kind of a little curve of the pictures, if you notice. So more dimensionals, and we're getting popped up again. Look at how nice that stands out from that cloud cover background. That's such a beautiful color. Running out of sticker, my sticky, double stick, tape runner, that's what it's called. Always takes a little bit to get them going, and that's going to go in the opposite corner down at the bottom. And then your 3x4s can just slip up under those flowers. And this sticker sheet is actually pretty nice. It's got a good selection of little titles and little subtitles to put on your pictures. And if, like I said, if you can't find something, go to this page and you'll find it. So just little accents. And another little flower. I like this one. I like this one a lot. So on to the third. Now I'll tell you that I've got all of my video sections here are at 300%. So all of these layouts together, so it's like 40 minutes times 3 is 120. So with all of the cutting and putting together was a total of 2 hours for this. So, and I have to tell you, I move slowly. That's why I zoom things up to 300%, because I move so slow that it's too painful. I can't even stand to watch how slowly I move. So that's why I zip things up to 300%, maybe a little bit under 2 hours to put all these layouts together. And see, this is where those empty circles, which I kind of thought were just kind of junk, are getting used. And so I've got, let me look at the color of that cardstock, because that's such a pretty color too. The tan is called crumb cake, which I don't need to hear that because that makes me want to eat a piece of crumb cake. Then I'd have to go and make one, and then I'd have an entire cake in the house, and then I'd be eating it. So the apricot color is actually called petal pink, which it looks more apricot to me than pink, but it's called petal pink. And so I am just kind of putting these kind of the same distance apart and using the ruler to put them at the same distance going down. And then these are the blue strips that are going to go underneath. And look at that cute the little circle border on the bottom there. So that piece that's in behind it is the 1/4-inch crumb cake strip. God, do you know how much I love crumb cake? I grew up in New York, and I mean, we had Entenmann's crumb cake, and that was just something that you had in the house. Was an Entenmann's crumb cake, and boy, I grew up on that stuff, and I love it. So I love crumb cake, but mostly what I would do is pull off the crumbs and leave the cake. I shouldn't admit to those things. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and see, you don't just use the dimensionals, you can use all the kind of waste stuff that is around the dimensionals. So put it all to use, because it's all, nobody's going to see underneath. So, you want to make the most use out of it. And then I've got the title here, beautiful. I ended up having a problem with that. I don't know what my problem was. Silly, I should have just left it alone because it kind of made a mess. And there's my journaling. And that little strip doesn't have anything written on it, so you want to put the date on those little empty strips. That's what that's for. So every so often I refer to the instructions. Heaven forbid I should really read them and understand them. I generally refer to them, and then I just proceed to do whatever the heck I want. Just saying, that's how I roll. And that's also how I end up undoing things. I really like that. Look at how pretty that is. See, this is what I could have just left alone. But did I? No, I decided that has to go under there. And I end up pulling it up, and then I get a wrinkle in the little stripe strip, and just ridiculous, just completely ridiculous. So leave things alone, and keep in mind, the enemy of good is better. And so you keep on trying to make things perfect, and what you do is you mess things up. So the enemy of good is better, and go for good. See, I put a wrinkle in it, then I rip it. But it's okay because you don't really see it. So you can learn what to do from me, and then you can learn what not to do from me. So I'm multitasking for you. Okay, last page. So now we've got our crumb cake background, the 10 by 10. Trying to figure out whether I use the dark or the light. It's kind of hard to tell. So it looks like the darker side has won. And then this, I am only going to put spots here and there of around the edges, because I need to put stuff underneath there. So pictures are going to go into those circles, and that gets, so there's like a white one and that black diamond one, and then there's also the cloud cover one. Okay, so I'm taking the stripe and putting it on top of the cloud cover half-inch strip, and I'm just putting my tape runner on the cardstock strip, not on the stripe. So because I will be putting some pictures or whatever underneath that area, so I'm adding another cloud cover under that circle. And look at how I get to use the entire piece, the outline of the tiny dimensionals, and just sticking it right on there. Just a perfect use for the remainder, and not to waste anything. I love that. So I've got all these leaves left that I need to find places for. It's amazing how much added pop those little leaves give to the whole layout. Kind of amazing to me. And then this is called Create Joy with the, with the accent of the cloud cover under it, and I'm just adding a little dimensional underneath the corner. And also we get another little subtitle, and I am going to, it's going to stick to one end because it's a sticker, but the other end is going to be raised dimensional. There we go. It's a nice little grouping, isn't it? And those little silly things just add a lot of pop to it. And then we've got another subtitle going on down there. And yeah, I realized that I've used the wrong flower there, and I needed to put a sticker there. And this little angled flower goes down in the bottom corner, and I thought, well, I just kind of pulled all the stickum off the dimensional, and then I decided to take it off and put another one there. I got lots of dimensionals. Okay, and then we'll put a sticker of leaves there, and then that dimensional on top. And then here's the other border of all the little circles, and notice that the design in the circles is that little crosshatch piece, just like the little tiny accents like on that little journaling area. So, it just carries little bitty details from one side to the other. And, you may not notice it, but it will look cohesive. Excuse me. I love this layout. And maybe it's the contrast. I don't know what it is, but I love this layout. Okay, and I'm going to put, to remind me when I put pictures on here, to cut a 3 by 3 from my 4 by 6s and to slip them back behind in the 4 places there. 5 places? Well, you could put one up in the upper middle for sure, however many you want. There we go. There's the last of it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Hi, this is Dorothy with Scrapbooking. Thanks for watching my channel. Please subscribe and learn along with me. Thank you. Bye-bye.